What's going on in Atlanta? My name is Jovan Paige, Keynote speaker and motivator with Stacey Abrams LLC, and you are tuned in to Level Up Atlanta.
How do you define networking?
How do I define networking? Networking to me is the sociological understanding of what you can do to contribute to someone else's life, and not just what they can do for yours. I think too often, especially in our generation, we're figuring how someone can benefit us right away. And if we can't get into that, then we kind of get disinterested with the networking piece of it. But it's a net, so it goes back and forth. I think of it like tennis or volleyball. The net is what divides the two people, and the ball goes back and forth between the net. If you don't feel that way, then it's not really networking. It's kind of one-sided. I think the first thing to realize when you're introducing yourself to someone is that you offer that first. It's almost like a tangible change, and not just something that's a name. Like, think of it as something that you're giving somebody. So if you were buying a product, you would exchange the money before you actually get the product. What happens often is we say, hey, what's your name? You say Adonis. Oh, okay, cool. Well, now I've already received something from you, and you haven't gotten anything from me. But I'm probably going to ask you something that benefits me. So I could at least start off with a conversation saying, hi, my name is Joe. What's your name? So I've already given you something so you don't feel like you're expending more than you're getting back. I think it's a twofold approach. I think the first thing you should do is first offer your name. So it's a meaningful exchange, but it begins with you giving them something. Second, I think you should ask them about their interests. So instead of asking them what they do or why they're in this particular place right now, you say, what's important to you? What do you do for fun? To have authentic conversation. I think an introduction is important, but I think a genuine introduction is even more important. I think being genuine in whatever sort of approach is what's going to actually propel you to a genuine relationship with the individual. So something that lasts way longer than just, hey, I met you at an event, like, let's connect. Instead, like, we had a conversation about this and we agree with this interest. So, hey, why don't we get lunch one day? Or why don't we go to Topgolf? Those kind of relationships and, conversations are the ones that tend to really be fruitful in the future. I think sometimes people get too caught up in titles. Sometimes you walk into a room, you already are familiar with someone. You've seen them somewhere, or you have an idea what they do. And I think we often get into that immediately and just jump into it like, hey, I saw you here, I saw you this place. And sometimes that can make them a little awkward. I can give you a perfect example. When I was working for Stacey Abrams campaign, I was a director for Youth Millennium College, and I was on a college tour with Tracee Ellis Ross. So instead of me going up and saying, oh, you're Tracee Ellis Ross, I'm a huge fan, we were talking about food. And I was like, hey, like, are you hungry? She's like, yeah, that's fine, I'm not hungry, I have a granola bar. And I was like, you eating hamster food? And, that could have been a miss. It could have been a strikeout. But she started laughing. And then genuine conversation ensued from there. And it had nothing to do with the fact that she's an actress. It had nothing to do with the fact that she had celebrity status. It was just talking about granola bars. And, how she nibbles on hamster food. And she told me I smell good. So, she said I was handsome too. Tracee, what's up, Tracee? And I'm going to say is when I first started introducing Stacey Abrams. So I think I alluded to it before. I was a director for Youth Millennium College for the Stacey Abrams campaign. The youngest statewide director, and I was just thrown out to the wolves one day. So we had a millennial event that I was in charge of creating, and they said, hey, we need you to introduce Leah Abrams. We usually have somebody for that. The campaign manager is here. Oh, no, you can do it. She'll be here in 6 minutes. Okay, I don't have anything prepared, I don't have anything written down, so what do? So I think one thing that was important for me to do, and it's important for us to take away from that as millennials, is the acknowledgement that you don't have to just jump into someone else's credentials. And I think being humble, but also being able to introduce someone in a humble way on their behalf is something that's really important, and it can go a really long way. So instead of me just going into her accomplishments, I just started talking about who she was as an individual. Well, I almost passed out. But then what actually ensued is just a deep breath. I inhaled, I exhaled, and I said, okay, well, let me introduce her like she's a really good friend of mine. And I didn't want to go just into what anybody could read on Google, right? If they typed in Stacey Abrams, there will be a myriad of things they could say about her, but I want to be able to say some things that they couldn't necessarily say. I said she was culturally influencing. I said she was generationally powerful. And I said she is your next governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams. To answer your second question about how that was profitable and fruitful in the future, is because after that, I did good enough to where I became the campaign MC. So then now I was introducing her at all the events, not just the millennials. The first one is be genuine. I think you want to give the most authentic you every single time you have a conversation with somebody. The second thing is give something that's you before you try to receive something from somebody else. You want that exchange. Think of it like compensation. You want to give somebody money before you receive a product. And the last thing is talk about someone's interests instead of just talking about their occupation. Try to figure out who they are and try to, for lack of better terms, minimize somebody to their human level. Like, everybody is a human, so it doesn't matter how much money they make or what their position is.